record this on Panopto so that people who couldn't have a chance can also watch it later on.
Maybe there are 3 people with microphones on. Maybe that's why there's an echo.
It doesn't echo, right?
Is it still echoing, Donald?
Is it?
When you talk, Anita. Okay, I won't talk then.
We can read your lips. A new challenge.
All right. That way, sign language.
Yeah. Anita, Jim, let's start. It's 12:30.
Okay.
So, welcome, everybody.
So maybe, should I turn my microphone off for now? And you can talk, and then when you want me to talk, I'll turn it back on. What's your plan?
All right. Okay.
Okay.
I'll greet people and then I'll hand it over to you. Okay. Thank you. Great. Welcome everybody to our homes. So we are very excited with Anita this afternoon to share this session with you. Actually, we will share our ideas, but we expect the same from you. Even when preparing this, I learned things from Anita, and Anita said some of the ideas that she had never thought before. So even this shows that doing things right. We have prepared an outline for you. Soon Anita will be sharing it with you. But first of all, we wish everybody health, and we hope you have a beautiful weekend. Yes, a week. We have a very good week. Hope you had a good weekend. My eyes were reading that and my idea went there. So Anita, Jim, you can now express your ideas.
Okay, so this is the first thing that we wanted to sort of share with you. So, one of the reasons that this came out is because, I, for one, and I'm sure many of us are kind of missing that classroom feeling. And we wanted to try to share some suggestions on how to bring, your classroom elements online. Some of the things that we suggest you may be doing them, or many of the things that we suggest you may be doing them. So if you have other suggestions too, please, we would love if you could share them with us. Hi again. Welcome. So this is the sort of agenda for our meeting. So things to start off the class, staging the lessons, using the whiteboard, giving guidance, trying to get some student feedback, and very importantly, encouraging more interaction, ending the class, and then non-teaching time. So as well as all the things that we think about in terms of teaching, we also have to think about ourselves. We kind of tend to put ourselves on the back burner, but we'll also talk about that as well a little bit. So maybe we could start by thinking about starting off the class. So Funda and I would like you to take 1 or 2 minutes just to think about how would you normally start a class in the classroom, and how can you bring that into an online situation. So we would like people to sort of share their ideas here. With a warm-up generally. Okay, in class. Yes. What kind of warm-up? Akgül?
I'm just afraid that my microphone would not work in my classes previously. It did not anyway.
It's
So,
working.
yes, it is working now for you. So generally, I mean, a warm-up related to the lesson, maybe related to the topic of that lesson, or it's just, greeting them and then asking them about their day or their courses, those kinds of things, or any kind of activity again related to that topic, or I mean, if it's the very first class, just getting to know each other, those kinds of things we do in class. But here online, I start greeting them individually, yes, and asking about their days, their time. So that's it, I think. Thank you.
Richard.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Richard has ideas. Richard says he greets students and gives small talk, which is also a beautiful idea. Personalizing ourselves in front of the laptops.
Same.
Yeah.
Super.
Great. Yeah. Thank you.
Heather, so with a photo video in the house. Yes.
Yeah.
These days I ask how they are spending their days, how their other classes are going. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So it sounds like we're doing quite similar things.
Yeah. This is good to know.
So if we think about emoticons are useful, yes.
You read our mind.
New communication methods, yes.
Exactly.
So we have a few ideas that we thought we could share with you. The first one, some people said that they like to do music. So Heather, Pam has a question about that too, about a video. So Heather, can you tell us how you do that at the beginning of a class? Heather.
Actually, we wanted to do this for this session, but we failed, so we should have asked it together, right?
We need help.
Be happy to share, yeah.
I know Bahar also shares material. She shares music. So, Bahar, can you tell us how you do it?
I'm not sharing anything on the screen. What I'm doing is I open a playlist on my Spotify and I set it next to my computer. And the students, as they check into the room, they hear the background music and they say they love it.
Okay, all right.
So you don't open it on your computer then?
No. Okay. On my cell phone.
Okay.
So your cell phone sits very close to the speaker of the laptop. Is that how you do it?
Yes. But I would love to know how to do it on my computer if anybody tells us.
Okay.
Heather, you said sometimes there is an issue with the sound. Some can hear and some can't. So, Heather, any other tips maybe? You can also embed a video in a PowerPoint and share the PowerPoint.
That's an idea, right?
Issues with sound. Okay. So, different ways of doing music maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. We have some other sound. Yes, to share a video, I had to share the link. Something like that. My videos tend to lag with the sound. Yeah, that's kind of why I was a bit scared about that, to do that.
Exactly. Okay.
So if you're not so comfortable with sharing a video or music or such, there are also things that you can do with static pictures, which I thought that we thought that we could share. One nice thing when students come into the class is to just welcome them with like Richard said, an emoticon or something, and ask a couple of questions. Or you could give them some trivial information. So Grumpy Cat, for example, I just let my students see the Grumpy Cat, and then they found out information about him when we were doing computer security. Or you could find an interesting news story and maybe get the students to, look at the news story, and you can talk about that for the first couple of minutes. Grumpy Cat, yes, I think he went down quite well. And
it works.
Yeah, the story was really nice because this is in the UK press at the minute with a 99-year-old man who has managed to now raise £30 million for the National Health Service. That was a nice little story that I shared with my students. So all of these are possible things that we could do.
Mm-hmm.
And then let me go on to, yes, he's also top of the charts.
And another idea could be like to start your lesson or to end your lesson in an interesting way. We put it in the starting point, but you can also do it at the end, like showing them some interesting facts and asking them to guess whether they are true or false. So can I get your ideas on these? Do you think these are true or false? The longest wedding veil was longer than 63 football fields. Is that possible? True. False. How can it be possible, right? Okay, true. Can cats be allergic to people? Crazy enough to be true, Richard. You are right. Cats can be allergic to people. Okay. Thank you for your answers. What about baby sea otters? Can they swim? They're sea otters. False. Hopefully. All right. What happens if they can't swim? They should be able to swim. You are right. Okay. Octopuses, do they have 4 hearts? True. Okay. Okay. And what about the muscles in your fingers? There are no muscles in your fingers. Is it true?
My goodness.
Okay, true. All right, so we can just communicate with our students like that. They can express their ideas. We can ask, why do they think that is true, or do they know this fact, or why do they think that is false? So do you wonder about the answers?
Yes.
Say yes. Thank you. I wouldn't show the other slide if you hadn't said yes. Okay, so let's see how correct you were.
My goodness. Well.
So, yeah. The longest wedding veil was worn by a woman in Cyprus, I have learned. That was true. And yes, unlike many people think always it's the animals who give allergy to people. No, the other way around is possible. Richard, to your question, baby sea otters can swim. Actually, you made a comment. You said, hopefully. You know who helps them? Their mothers help them. They carry them in their hands when they're hunting. And I have also heard that, actually read that, they are holding their hands, so they swim together. Yeah, of course, moms are always, there for their children. And we don't have muscles in our fingers, but how do you think then we can move our fingers? Tendons? Yeah. And with the palm muscles, they say, fingers don't have it, but with the palm and the wrist, the muscles cooperate and they work. And octopuses have 4 hearts. It's false indeed. Many people said true to that. Not 5, Pam Jim, but 3. So they have 3 hearts. Okay, so this can be used as a way to start the day or very close, very close. Thank you very much. To start the day, or at the end, you can use as an activity. All right. Thank you. More to love with, or more to just feel depressed about. I don't know. Okay. Yes, exactly, Pam. Right. Thank you. So that brings us to the other point.
So
Have I been able to? Yeah, go ahead, Anita.
These two are also quite nice to use at the beginning of the class because students are not really very good with sharing how they feel out loud. But if you get them to just write how they feel, or they can even draw it, it's a wonderful way for them to see how everyone else is feeling as well. And in this particular class, one of my students realised that she wasn't the only one feeling stressed. Everyone was feeling stressed and overwhelmed, and she actually felt better. So it's quite a nice way of sort of, you start the lesson, but you also help the students to, you know, share their feelings as well. So that was nice. And also getting them to think about something positive at the beginning of the class, or if they don't have anything positive to say, then maybe by the end of the class they might have something. So that's also a nice way to start the beginning. So lots of different ideas. And Mentimeter, yeah. I think sometimes it's difficult when we have so much technology to add more technology to the system. So if you don't want to do it technology wise, you can actually prepare this yourself, so you don't have to worry about anything crashing. It's all just there on the PowerPoint that you can go through the lesson with. So it's also with internet problems and everything too. So any other suggestions for the beginning of the class? Any other things? Okay, so Funda, I think we can go on to the next one.
Yeah, we can. When I click, my system is a bit slow in bringing the next slide. Okay, so yeah, staging our lessons. How can we stage our lessons? Can you think about some suggestions for us? Sometimes it is overwhelming for our students to get everything.
Side to the type of. Okay.
Let's see.
How do you let students know what they're going to do during the lesson? How do you sort of set their mind frame for the class?
So like I said, my classes are flipped. So I have a very large asynchronous component. So I record offline. I record the lessons in advance, just me and the material going over it, talking about it. And then the students are required to watch those videos and then come to the collaborate sessions having already watched it. So I even just like start the lesson with a poll, like who watched the lessons and who didn't, so I can see what ideas I specifically need to cover. But I kind of start with like, do you have any questions, and or like some sort of mini quiz, so I can see, you know, who's getting who knows and who remembers properly, and so then I can have an idea of what I especially need to sort of discuss again. And then we usually try to apply whatever was in the video. So for example, this coming week we talked about interview questions. So they watch the videos, look at some examples, and then you know, we come together and we talk about other example answers, and they're gonna interview each other, things like that. And Pam, yes, normally they do. Of course, you have a couple that don't. but I'm having a pretty good, at first, no, because they weren't used to it, but now, you know, they sort of know the system and they're getting into the groove. So it's okay.
Oh, that's good.
And it's nice because they can do it on their own time at like 3 o'clock in the morning if they want to. And I have reduced collaborate hours, which means, you know, they don't have as much of an opportunity to like lose connection and have technical problems. So they're still getting the lesson, and they can also go back to it and watch it again and stuff like that. So it's been good.
That's good.
All right.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you. Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Thank you.
Recording, participation, poll reading, multiple choice questions, discussions. Yes, informing the students about the agenda. Yeah, that's okay. So,
all right.
Quite similar, really, to some of our ideas, Funda.
Yeah. That's you know, possible because we are a very good team.
Yes. Maşallah var.
Evet, bence de. I am 100% sure of it.
I'm putting a nazar boncuk here for everybody.
Yeah. Beautiful.
So if we just share with you, so very similar actually to what Ege suggested, having an agenda at the beginning of the class is quite a nice way to get students into the lesson sort of mind frame. And what Heather said about taking a poll is quite important to see how many people have actually got to the point that they're supposed to get to. So that's quite important as well. So yeah, and lots of different multiple choice questions, like Richard said. Yeah. Okay. So at the beginning of the class, obviously it's quite important to tell them what you're going to do, and at the end of the class too, it's quite important to tell them where they need to get to for the next lesson. So we kind of have to plan ahead quite a bit, don't we, in order to schedule our lessons. Yeah, so we're definitely kind of doing it in a different way. We're not thinking about how far did I get during the lesson. It's how far do I need to have got to so that the students can do the next part. So I think that's quite important. Yeah, so good. Homework task. Yeah, and reminding them as well, bless them, is wonderful. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going on to the next slide, Funda.
Please. Yeah, go ahead.
Maybe I go back for a second. Heather, because students are in constant state of confusion, it seems the poor things. Yes, I think that we do need to spell things out for them more than we would do before. So kind of hand holding. I want my hand held, and I'm sure that, you know, most of us feel the same. So
like the baby theaters.
Yes.
We have hands, really. Even if you, you know, give the instructions, I mean, they can be distracted. We don't know in what kind of situations they are studying their lessons. You know, they might have, you know, their family members around them. So it is always good to have things written down in an organized way so that they can follow up. Because we do want to perform their tasks. I mean, I'm sure you are receiving emails saying, I sent it, but can you double check it? Have you received it? Have I done it right? I mean, some of them are worried.
So we need to be as supportive as possible, don't we, with this, and as clear as possible. Okay.
Yeah.
Find a weekly Oasis messages. Yeah, definitely messages are very important, I think, which we'll come to that a little bit in a while. So we also thought about using, you know, in the normal classroom, I do use the whiteboard a lot, and I was very stressed about not being able to have my whiteboard in the classroom. So as we've all done, we've kind of found different ways to compensate for that. So can you think about how you use the board in the classroom?
Whiteboard,
The
you mean,
whiteboard,
right?
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Or even, it doesn't even have to be the whiteboard, it can be the screen can also work as a whiteboard too. So how do you use the whiteboard in your classes? I don't use the board much, but I write all over the PowerPoints. Yes. Teaching vocabulary, get students to write. Yes. Again?
And I'm just jumping in. Sorry, I forgot to raise my hand. Generally, I put everything on the slides so that I can use the pen, because if you share a PDF document, you can't use the pen. So in order to use the pen or the other tools there, so I do everything on slide. I mean, I try to put everything on slides. I mean, whatever I'm going to do.
Thank you. Yes. Super. So there's many different ways that we can do that.
Like, that's nice. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So we can do lots of different things, can't we, on the whiteboard? And students kind of like that too, don't they? They like to be involved in it, which is nice.
They do.
Undergraduate creativity, wow, is all coming out here, isn't it? As a place to ask questions, get ideas. Yes. And there's always one who draws crazy lines. Yes. Which is nice because, you know, I'm glad that you started that, Pam, because I think that's a screenshot moment, isn't it? So I have taken a screenshot. Even a cat we have here. Wow. Okay, so before it gets a bit too crazy, maybe we can go to
all the control.
Yes.
We are the teachers. We can't get away from that feeling.
So I think most of you have mentioned all of these options. So when using the book or the PowerPoint, you can obviously use, just like we project onto the board in the classroom, we can do the same thing with the book and the PowerPoint material. So quite easy to do that. We have lots of artists in our group, don't we?
Yes, we do.
You can also use it for feedback as well. So after my students' first presentations, we worked together on their feedback, and they corrected some of their mistakes that they made, which was quite nice. And I did, yes. Again, you spotted it. So because we were teaching on çocuklar last week, I felt kind of guilty that my students were having a lesson on that day. So I got my son to draw a picture, and I put it on the first slide of the PowerPoint, and then, like the television does, I put it on the side of each PowerPoint just to celebrate the day, so we hadn't totally forgotten how important it was. So that also went down quite well. So
very nice.
What else? So feedback, brainstorming and research. This was something that actually my students kind of jumped at this, and I've never seen them as enthusiastic and ready to participate as when we started brainstorming for the phony pharmaceuticals. And we brainstormed questions, and then I delegated questions to groups, and they had to go away and do research. And it was amazing how much research they came back with. So I think they did like the topic and were quite shocked about it. So that worked really, really well. So maybe for animal testing coming up, or I don't know about 310, but it's maybe possible to. So we decided what we knew about the topic, what we would like to know. If there was an expert, what could we ask them? And then they did their research, and it was really quite amazing how much material they came back with. So
can I make an addition
sure.
here? Thank you. In our classrooms, I mean, when we ask them to come to the board and to contribute to the board work, some students would like to do that, but they are a bit, shy to lead the group, because if there is a hardworking student in the classroom, the others just look down on this person. I mean, this is a classic feeling, I guess. Or some other students are, reluctant to just stand up, come to the board, join. I mean, I think we have the advantage of that now. Everybody's sitting, and with a click, they can reach the board.
Yeah. And you don't know who's doing it as well sometimes when you write on the board, so it's kind of anonymous, isn't it? Which is nice.
Yeah.
So, and then for consolidating ideas with one of my groups, I realised that they really didn't know what was going on. So we created a mind map with questions, and then I uploaded that took a screenshot and uploaded it to Blackboard for them. So lots of different ways of using the whiteboards there. Okay. So, Funda, anything else to add to this part?
No, I think that's okay. We can move on.
So I think we've already touched on this a little bit with a lot of the things that you said that you were doing, but we can maybe revisit this. So think about how you help students understand things. So how do you make sure that they understand? What do you do? Write it as well. Yes.
Yeah. On the chat box. Okay.
Very clear. Yes. Yeah, that's a good idea. I think we've already mentioned a lot of these things, haven't we? Where you would write it and how many times you would say it. Always repeat instructions. Yes. Concept checking questions. Yes. Information questions. Yes.
I think I repeat, I concept checked my questions, whether they understood or not. I think in the first time when I tried that, I did it a bit too much. In the end, I could get laughter. So, yeah, we understood. Why are you still asking these questions? Because I didn't see them, and I don't see their expressions, it makes me feel that, I want to be clear and I want to be understand before I move on to the next one. Yeah.
So I think most of these we've kind of gone over actually, but board work.
Yeah. Now, I was kind of worried because I couldn't use the whiteboard very effectively in the beginning. Every time I wanted to write something, I was clicking on the wrong part. If I wanted to make additions, I was just deleting things. So it was horrible for me. And I really missed my board at school, because I could just go to class early, organize it, write the objectives. And I somehow developed a different way to do that, as long as the whiteboard. What I do is, sorry, I clicked on shift rather than the arrow there. So I open a Word document, and sometimes I do write what we're going to cover there, and I share my screen. When students work in the breakout rooms, they also write their own documents there. They create their own answers in the chat box, and I copy them and I paste them here. So take these notes together with them. And at the end of the day, I mean, if that is my plan for that day, I have something to share with them as a summary, what we did that day. I write the date at the top of the page so they know where these notes come from. And then I upload them on Blackboard so that they can reach these whenever they want. So this can be another way to involve them in the class activity, because in the breakout rooms they have to produce something so that their work goes on here as well. So this can be an idea.
Nice, very nice. Okay.
Thank you.
Initial info from the breakout room. Do you have a copy and paste before you leave that?
Padlet. Yeah, Padlet. When you save info from the breakout room, do you have to copy and... Yes, I do copy and paste it. Exactly. I copy and paste it on a Word document that I'm working on.
And then I think we've mentioned this before, but maybe at the end of the class you would tell students what they're expected to do in the next lesson, where everything can be found, especially with the presentations. We had to tell them where it was found. So you could share it on a PowerPoint, or you could actually share it in a normal message. Okay, I'm lost. How do you share your Word document? So, Funda, I think, how do you share your Word document? Can you go back to that?
Oh, okay. When you go to the content folder, when you open Blackboard, you can create your own folder in the content link. You can say create an item, and then I just take this Word document and upload it there.
On Collaborate.
On Collaborate, not on Collaborate, on Blackboard, so that whenever this one, the Word document, I just if I understand it correctly, I share my screen with them. They just see it. So when they work in the breakout rooms, I copy their answers, I paste them here, and at the end I upload it on Blackboard. Thank you.
You can also make checklists for students. So if they do need a lot of hand holding, like we said, when we're being our motherly otters, maybe we could make checklists as well for them. It's quite nice to have a checklist, isn't it, sometimes?
Yeah. I also have the Word document open, as you said. I put it on minimize so that, not minimize, sorry. I can also see what they are writing at the same time, but I can also see the Word document together with me. Yeah, you can share the whole screen or just as part of it. I don't prefer to share it as a whole screen, because then I can't see what they are writing. But I have another suggestion for that as well. Yeah. Yes. Anita.
Okay. So yes, I think many things are stressing us out at the minute, Pam, with all these different technologies. That's why I try to keep it simple, maybe. It seems to work well. Okay. So, gauging students and how to get them to participate more. Again, this is something that we've already touched on, I think, but how do you gauge your students' understanding of what you're doing? So maybe think about that, and how do you encourage them to participate as much as possible? That's another topic.
A big topic, isn't it?
It's probably the $1,000,000 question.
Exactly. Because after the 30-minute lesson, you feel like, you have had like 2 hours non-stop lesson, trying to encourage them keep the motivation going on.
So group work, because they have a responsibility to their teamwork. Yeah, so group work is good. Yes.
Yeah.
How do you kind of get to see lots of breakout room time? That's how I did my Padlet. Okay. Any other ways to participate that you can think of? So we have, I think it's lunchtime, isn't it? So they love polls, but I'm scared of overusing them. But David, if the students are responding positively to it, then I don't think that there's anything wrong with using polls. So I know adequate when I come to this session. Oh. We're all doing our best. We're all being 150%, I think we're all doing at the moment, if not more. So, okay. So, I mean, David, you said that you're worried about overusing polls, but especially at the beginning of the lesson, I think Heather mentioned this too. I think it's a wonderful way to see where students are and see, how you need to approach the class. So that's a very nice way of starting. There's lots I'm struggling with too, including people. It's very difficult to keep track of the chats at the same time, but I don't think anyone should be feeling inadequate, because I think everyone's doing an amazing job. Don't you think so, Funda?
Exactly. Of course, I keep receiving lots of links to things, and sometimes we don't have time to check them. And every time I receive a link, I say, "Oh no, I'm behind." People are doing lots of things, and I'm not doing anything. But we should be proud of ourselves. Really,
Yes.
we are doing it right.
I think so. And what works and what doesn't work. Yeah, we have to all find our own way, just like we do in the classroom, don't we?
Exactly. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So again, polls at the beginning. Maybe we should have taken a poll at the beginning, to see how people are feeling. Mm-hmm. Delegating during the lesson, which I'm sure most of us are doing, is a very nice way. Like group work, it does get them to feel responsibility towards each other, so that works very, very well. Mm-hmm. And Funda, would you like to?
Yeah, actually, this will be a direct, suggestion for all of us, I guess. Pam, you have also expressed your concerns about sharing the whole screen with the students, because we can't then see what the students are writing, or which student left, which student is kicked out. I struggled a lot at the beginning for that, because every time I heard a bling sound, then I had to go back, or tick sound, somebody wrote something, I have to see that, minimize this, go there, go back. I did a lot of hard work for that, but now it's a very simple thing. Maybe you will find it funny, but it works quite well. At the beginning of each session, if I'm going to share my whole screen, which prevents me from seeing the chat box, I just ask students, who's going to be my eyes today? All right, and who is going to help me? I nominate students. Of course, not every time I'm successful in picking up the correct student, right student, because sometimes some students, as you know, have internet problems. I also ask them to volunteer, but then we have the danger of having always the same students to volunteer. That's why I nominate a student, and when I'm running the PowerPoint, they help me in reading out the questions of the other students, or reading out the answers they are given. So it always works really well. And during one lesson, you can nominate several students for that if you're going to have a long session with your PowerPoint. It also encourages participation.
Okay. And I think we're all doing this too, but it's also important. If we were at school, the students would see us all around campus. So it's quite important that we try to maintain sort of visibility somehow. And it's quite nice to maybe get students to write to you. So last term I got my students to do a journal, and I wanted to continue it this term, and I asked them if they wanted to do it via Oasis. Some students are writing back to me, and they seem to have started writing more since sharing this. So just being available online, it shows that you're around, whereas we all seem to be in the middle of nowhere, and it's just a way to increase visibility. So, and Funda, you had one more here.
Yeah, and we must always make them feel that we are supportive. We also have our bad days. We are also human beings. There are times that I go demoralized, to this or that, and that day I may put a lot of pressure on my students, saying you must be here, you must be visible. But we must not forget that whatever we are undergoing, they are also undergoing this, and we should be supportive. And while we were getting ready for this presentation, one of my students just shared this mail with me. She's just having a bad day and she just wanted to share her feelings. It's always nice to show that you are there for them. Deadlines or timely duties, maybe these can be just left aside from time to time, and feel that you are with your students and make them feel this.
Okay. So so ending classes. So we've talked about starting them. So what do you usually do towards the end? How do you end your classes? Total silence.
The connection breaks out and we end.
So,
yeah.
Do you have any questions?
Sure.
Wrap up. Ask for the main points we discussed today. Exit slips. Yes. Today. Give assignments. So very similar things to what we're doing in regular classes. So,
Sure.
Ege, I wrote down. I contacted Ege yesterday, and she kindly gave me some information about exit slips here. So, Ege, would you like to explain how you do the exit slips?
I would, thank you, but it's just, I think my microphone is on and off.
We
There's
can
something
hear
wrong
you.
with my sound. Anyway, very good then. Right, so as I told you before, I've been doing it in all the class before I leave. So it's just any kind of, questions about the lesson. So what do you remember from the class? If we did vocabulary, what words do you remember? Or what was the most interesting thing about today's class? What was the most interesting thing? What have you learned? And also the last question these days, because they've been with their families for a long time. So what interesting fact will you mention to your family? Will you share with your family? So these are the things, I think. Very similar. The questions that you already mentioned. Yes.
Thank you. So
Thank you.
maybe shy teachers too. Yes. After I did like your point actually about staying on right to the end, because you do usually get one or two people hanging out at the end of the class wanting to ask questions, so it's quite important that you stay there for them, isn't it?
It is.
And then we have Funda. Would you like to explain these?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes, it is a very good idea to get students together and just to ask how they are and how things are going. You can also do this at the end of your class. In the classroom, we used to do it, with a class circle, method. But now in our homes, we are in front of our laptops. So why don't we do an online class circle? So just as, Ege, you pointed out, we can just ask how things are going, just to create connections with them and to reflect learners' realities. We can just be aware of what's going on in their lives. So it will be a nice to get together, care and share maybe. And these are some suggestions that I've learned from a conference I attended. So it can be just something that they remember from the past, or we are always focusing on to present as we're having bad days. There's an illness out there, we are trapped in our homes, but maybe to direct their attention from the negative to the positive, what they are enjoying now. I mean, this can be something to change their mood, or something they are looking forward to in the future. So I think this can be another activity that we might find in our classrooms. Yeah, to bond with our students and to feel empathy. Okay. I clicked on the next slide, but it was a bit late.
Well, we've already talked about this. We give instructions for the next lesson, we give deadlines, and a sign off as well is quite important, isn't it? Stay safe and I'll see you next week. Something that shows them that we do care about them is important there. So I think we've pretty much covered everything, haven't we, to do with classes and staying at the end and saying goodbye. As they say goodbye, we acknowledge them too.
Yeah,
that's important. So last but not least, I think this is something that maybe we all need at the moment. We need to be reminded about this. So Funda.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, we are all saying, we wake up and we say we should set up our computer, we should create our link, we should prepare this PowerPoint, we should just remind our students to do this homework. We have lots of shoulds, but we should stop shooting on ourselves maybe for certain times. We can't do it maybe all the time, but this is, I think that we have been doing this more than necessary. So, the work has filled all our time at the moment. We don't have a day and a night because nobody says, okay, the work is finished, go to your home now. We are already at home, so there is nobody to stop us. But I think we should take care of it. Sometimes we need to just remind ourselves that we are human beings and we need some time to reflect on us. So yes, we have bodies, but we don't only have our bodies. We are the bodies ourselves. I mean, if we don't take care of ourselves, who is going to take care of us? Yes. So our health is very important. Anita, we should remind it to ourselves more than often, maybe. Don't you agree?
I think so. It's very difficult to separate work and home life when your work life is at home. So we do need to step away and switch off and just take time for us. Yeah, I think that's also really important. So yes.
Exactly. So another idea from a conference. So says we have to be smart. We are already smart teachers. We know that, but in what sense we have to be smart? Can you guess what do these letters symbolize to be a smart teacher? Any guesses? You can just get specific. Good idea.
Super.
Super teachers.
Marvelous.
I definitely agree.
Amazing.
Measurable. I that is not surprise that it comes from you. Solution focused. Okay. Meaningful. Yeah. Thank you. But I would just say turn to yourselves again. Say, oh God, Richard. Focus on positives. We are at the end of the presentation. Focus on positives. All right. We said we should remember that we are important. We are the bodies ourselves. So please ask these questions to yourselves, okay? Don't get lost in the workload pile, and things are happening and they are happening well. You are doing a good job. Our students are happy with us. I have just shared an anecdote with Anita. I mean, one of my students said that they were having lessons only with language teachers. I said, how do you mean? And he said, our professors are uploading their PowerPoints and we don't have anybody to talk to. We can't ask them questions. So the only time we have a lesson is when we have a language lesson. So we are doing a very good job. I would like to thank everybody for their hard work. Anita, any comments?
This is the only sort of words of encouragement, like everything that Funda said. We both want to thank you for taking time. We know that you're very busy and you have lessons to do and things to prepare, but also look after yourself too. And thank you for joining us. That's all I want to say. Be kind to yourselves.
Exactly. Thank you, dear friends. We are doing things right, and be proud of yourselves. And thank you for sharing your ideas with us.
Yes, thank you very much. So take care of yourselves.
Take good care. Anita, we have to wait until the last student leaves.
And we have to say goodbye to everybody. So,
and we have to.
Richard, bye-bye.
Yeah, thank you.
Arthur,
we have to
you're welcome.
We have to wait for the teachers. Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Bahar. See you soon, hopefully.
Bye-bye. Hey!
Ay kızlar şahane oldu.
Do we have a meeting today?
Çok güzel.
Çok
güzel oldu. Do you know why it was so beautiful? There was lots of humor, and we literally had fun during the meeting. Although, besides learning so much from one another, we had fun. Yeah. I could feel everybody did. So thank you so much. That was amazing.
That's good.
No, thank you. We feel good. I mean, we, felt very good about it. Thanks for your encouraging words.
Yes, thank you.
That was really, really good. Thank you so much. Elinize sağlık, ağzınıza sağlık.
Without hands, I mean, it was so, informal and nice, wasn't it?
Yes, that's my point. Yeah, it was informal, it was fun. Everybody was freely sharing what they felt. Lots of humor. Çok güzel oldu ya. Çok güzel.